Hello, and welcome to Design Tea. In this video, we'll be learning how to create a loading animation for a button. So let's get started. So here we have a simple payment screen. You can have any type of screen you want. You can design it yourself, or you can pull one from somewhere else. But this is what I have so far. But the main thing we want to focus on is animating this payment button. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this button. We just have a simple rectangular shape with rounded edges. And I'll just take it from there and drag it over to the side so we can work on it. So what I'll do now is I'll select the text tool, click within the frame and type pay now. I'll drag that over the button and center it there. Let's make it white to make it stand out a little bit more. Looks good. I actually want to change the font. Change it to Arial. I like the look of that a little bit better. Make it a little bolder. Looks good. The next thing we're going to do is create an auto layout of this button. So what we'll do is select everything, the text and the button, and come over here and select auto layout. Let's center everything. Looks good. You can name this button. All right. Now, the next thing we want to do is create the loading animation that will be featured inside of this button when someone clicks it. So I'll go to the shape tool to create an ellipse or circle. I will click and drag while holding shift to create a symmetrical circle. Let's zoom in a bit. Create an arc here. And then we'll take this middle ratio and you can make it as wide or as narrow as you like here. So we'll let that go. And then we'll bring that circle back to a close. Great. And then over here with the fill, we'll apply an angular gradient. All right, so that looks great. I love the color. I think it'll stand out really well on this sort of purplish bluish button that we have here. So let's make it smaller so that it'll fit within the button size. Great. So we have that. So this will be the initial button, what it looks like when someone's on the screen. And then next we'll create the look and feel of what it'll look like when someone actually clicks the button and the loading animation begins. So let's make a copy of this. So we'll do Command C and Command V to paste it. Let's bring that over here. Looks good. So now let's take this loading feature and drop it within the auto layout. The great thing about auto layout is that it helps you keep things aligned and spacing proper without having to kind of play a guessing game. So as you can see, the circle and the text are perfectly aligned. We really don't have to do much. I think one thing I will do is increase the spacing between the animation and the text. So we'll just hover here and increase that to, let's say, 25. Yeah, I like that much better. Great. So now we need to create different versions of this so that it can animate in kind of a moving circular way. So let's go ahead and Command C and Command V. We'll bring that here. And then with this one, we're going to rotate the circular animation. There we go. And then again, great. So now we have a complete rotation of this animation. And another thing that we want to do is when someone clicks pay and the animation completes itself and their payment goes through, we want to have some way to tell them that everything is confirmed, you're good to go. So I think what I want to do is create another button, but have it be a check mark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take this in the first button, Command C and Command V, bring that down here, And then off to the side here, I'm going to use the pen tool to just draw a simple check mark, nothing fancy. Let's make the color a lighter color, and we can make the stroke a little bigger. All right, so let's take that and put that within the button here, make it a little bit smaller so it'll fit, and drop it in there. Great, so we have the check mark. I want this to say payment accepted. Maybe payment complete is better. Love it. I actually want to click on this check mark. Let's do some rounded edges. So over here on the line type, we can round those, and we can even round that corner intersection there. Love that. Let's increase the spacing here as well. Let's do 35. I like the way that looks. Cool. Okay, so now we have all of our buttons, and what we need to do is create the animation through prototyping. But first, we're going to create a component. So we're going to select all of these, click up here, and create component set. So now we have all these different variations of how the button will play out when someone clicks it. So the first thing someone will see is a simple Pay Now button, and now we get into prototyping. So we'll go over to the prototyping tab, we'll select the first button, and we'll create a connection between the first one and the second one. So we definitely want it to be on click, change to, and we'll have that be instant. So for the second button, we're going to make the connection. We're going to do after delay 1 millisecond. Let's do a linear transition and 600 milliseconds. Looks great. And we'll just do that again for the remaining buttons as well. And for this last one, same, after delay, looks good. All right, so now let's drop this into our frame and see if it works. So we'll come to the assets, which now we have a button. We're going to drag that into our frame, select the frame, and press play. So the only error we have here is that this button is way too big and long. So what we're going to do is go back to our component here, and why don't we just go ahead and make all of the buttons the same width as the first one. That way there's no change in dimensions and there's no kind of awkward spacing that we'll have to deal with. So what we're going to do, since this is in auto layout, is we're going to come over here. We're going to decrease the horizontal padding. And so for this one, I think we're okay if we delete the text and just keep the check mark. I think I like that aesthetic better. Okay, now we just need to resize the button to fit the other buttons. Let's go ahead and increase the vertical padding so that it matches the vertical padding here. Okay, I think this will work so much better. Let's give it a shot. Select our frame and press play. And there we have it, a loading animation button in Figma.